Also coming up in the next hour, jail for a man.
My first job, well...
Data since Tuesday. Alan Fisher has been following...
For the families today, when the former Northern Ireland Secretary, Peter Hain...
Core principles of journalism are about finding stories in new areas and challenging yourself.
Inevitably, you're not going to be able to appeal to the people who watch your programme, the different people who watch your programme.
You should never be presumptuous in news. You should just treat everybody as an individual.
Diversity in news. Why is it so important, especially for those who work in news? Now, the word itself is actually quite broad, and if we take a closer look at it, it relates to what is known as protected characteristics, such as gender, sexual orientation, pregnancy and marriage, race, age and disability. The UK is ranked #1 as the most ethnically diverse country in the European Union, which means more than ever, producers of news have to reflect the audience they serve with the content they put out.
I think there are two main reasons. I think one, as a journalist, it's your duty to tell the stories that are happening wherever they are, so they're not conveniently, in sort of compartments of a particular sort of kind or class or race or gender. They're everywhere. And I think often it's easy for journalists to work in silos, to tell the stories that are easier from perhaps our own backgrounds or our own daily routines. So I think the very core principles of journalism are about finding stories in new areas and challenging yourself. So I think it's really, really important for the industry.
A former student at Nottingham Trent University, Christian Hugill now works as a full-time journalist for Notts TV News. He believes newsrooms across the country should reflect all groups in society.
I think when I was a freelance journalist, that was particularly important. So, if you're working at a radio station that targets a family audience, you need to have people in the newsroom who, have a family. If you work in a newsroom that has an audience with lots of BME people, then you need to have a team which has got black, minority and ethnic people working in it, because otherwise inevitably you're going to struggle to reach those people and make your output relevant to the people who are watching your programme.
Daughter to a Jamaican father and a white mother, Jodie Law presents her own show on BBC Radio, which is aimed at the African Caribbean community throughout Nottinghamshire, and she believes news should relate to all walks of society.
Everybody's feeling included in the news that we're delivering, and you need to tap into every part of society to make them feel included. Otherwise, they're just going to switch off. You should never be presumptuous in news. You should just treat everybody as an individual, regardless of their sex, their age, their colour, their sexual orientation. Everyone should be treated as an individual.
It's clear, in order to reach out to various audiences, one must have a diverse workforce. So what about consumers of news? What do they think about diversity?
Well, we need to get all the people's views on everybody has their own opinion, and we need to listen to their opinion as well. We've all got freedom of speech, so we all need to do it, don't we?
If you have like a wider range of people presenting the news, then you're more likely to attract like a wider audience. They're more likely to be interested in a wider array of issues.
It's vitally important to have diversity, because you do need to get a full spectrum of opinions from all aspects of society, as you've mentioned, gender, race, disability, everything. You don't want a totally biased view when you're watching the news. The news has to be fully inclusive and without doubt, really. So yeah, important to have that view from everywhere in equal measures.
To stop the divide between people, sexes and races, really, because I think what you're seeing on the news now creates a divide, kind of negativity when they're bringing races, isn't it? There's nothing positive about different races. So that's what I think you need to bring diversity into the news, to create a bonding with people so people understand other people better.
Figures from two leading broadcasters illustrate changes that are occurring within the industry, with both sets showing an increase in women presenting the news. However, Lord Best, chairman of the House of Lords, recently stated that more women need to be included in news and current affairs. The world we live in is constantly evolving, and so is society. In order for news to become relevant to everyone, we must reflect that in the content that is produced.